We're recording. We're recording. Good. All right. So inside of Canvas, I'm going to go ahead and finally hit the publish button. Again, we're not using Notion to add our stuff. We're just going to submit it to Canvas. All right. We're just going to use Notion as the public website. What does Canvas want me to do? Sure. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Now you're looking at the professor view. I'm going to go ahead and hop out of this and get into the student view. Oh, I just burnt my mouth. Sorry, y'all. There's no laughing emoji for that. Oh. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the student view. So if you completed the daily engagements on Notion, just leave them, right? You'll receive full credit for it. And so I have that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, don't worry about overdue assignments right now. Don't worry about this. We can backdate all of this stuff. Basically, what I've done is I've given you the first week and then all of this week. This has been the request by students. This is, can we get more than one per day? And I have to concede some points. Like we are in a different situation. I have to do things differently. I say this in all my classes. I should be able to speed stuff down and slow down and speed up a class as needed, but we're in a different situation here. So go through and double check all of this. Okay, so we've taken care of those 4. Okay, we've already done those. We've started this in last class, building interactive JavaScript sites. So if we go to Codecademy, right here, let's go ahead and find that. And the reason we're doing this one is I really want us to nail home these 3 points. These 3 points right here of data, not just HTML, but data. Right, so in the Web3 class, we're really talking about this idea of where is data coming from. Today, we're going to hard code some data. Okay? And then any interactions. And then what happens when you change those interactions? So pull to refresh should refresh your screen, right? A multi-touch gesture should pinch and zoom. And those are all of our interactions. Yeah. And then templates. Like we don't want to, like today, as the fun example that we're doing today is what happens if you add in more sounds? What happens if you remove sounds? And the idea here is this should be programmatic, as we learned in Web 2 is programmatic. Like sound should be easily be added, and you shouldn't have to be bothered to add that. Like your client should be able to, today we're going to make a soundboard, and your client should be able to say, hey, we can record our own soundboard, right, and add this in. The sound that I'm going to be adding to my soundboard is one that my son just came up with, so I'm going to bug him real fast. What? All right, now it's your turn. Okay, so he's gonna, all right. So what sound am I gonna add to my soundboard? Go ahead.
Daddy is a big nerd.
Right. Everybody hear that? Okay, all right. So I just recorded that, right? And that's the soundboard that I'm gonna add into. And what I want you to do is like this is this is being recorded. This isn't the best tutorial on this, but it gets these topics across. And if we can understand these 3 things, right, we're going to be able to get into React next class and learn why React.js even exists. Okay. And so all that said, like we're building interactive websites, take care of parts 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to finish up this week with parts 1, 2, and 3. If you fall behind, it's okay. Okay, this is just kind of the pacing that I want to go at, these small parts. Some days you might not get it all done in time, and that's okay, right? All right, so before we move on to the actual soundboard today, does anybody have any questions about moving stuff to Canvas, right? And the breakdown of what's due every single day? No questions? I can't even see faces right now. I just see these icons.
So do we need to go, you said we don't need to worry about going back and completing the overdue assignments?
Yes, it says in all of the cards, right? Like if you did it on Notion, you don't have to worry about it. I still have it. I have whatever you did on Notion.
But starting on number 4, we need to submit those.
starting on number 4. Yes, right. And that's this profile right here. So if you go to codecademy.com/profile/your username, basically this is how you're going to get graded at the end of the quarter. Is you're going to click on this, right, and just click on my profile, right. And as you can see right now, right, I've only gone through the tutorials, but how many have I completed? Ooh, very, very little. And my current streak is at 0. I'm in trouble, right? That's how we're going to be graded. So this student right here is falling behind and needs to get their act together. Good.
The link is broken. I don't know if it's all of the links, but that one specifically is broken.
Which one?
Building interactive JavaScript website.
All right, I can fix that, but it's under the JavaScript section. It's what we started on last week. So under JavaScript, it's right there. Good.
Okay.
This is one that we started last week. Check. Let me know. All right. No questions. We can move past housekeeping. Okay. All right, let's get into this. All right. So the Great West Boss has probably the world's most popular tutorial right here. He basically, when ES6 came out, he made this JavaScript 30 course, and it was kind of fun. It was all of his. He basically took like, what can I do with JavaScript, right? And just plain vanilla JavaScript, right, under his courses, and it was a free course, and he basically made 30 projects, right? And one of them, the very, very first one, is extremely popular, right? And you're going to go ahead and make a drum kit. So if for some reason you need a different voice, okay, go ahead and refer to his video. I'll link to it. But the other thing here is this is awesome. Like, this is a really nice use of JavaScript, right? And it's a completely free course. And what we're going to do is we're going to recreate it today, right? And also be able to understand how it works. And then we're going to take this application and next class apply it to React, right? So like I said at the beginning of the class, well, how easily should it be to add and remove sounds, right? Should you be the person that adds and removes sounds, right? And how reactive is it? And that's the whole reason why JavaScript, React.js exists. Right, before we can start getting into React, we need to figure out, well, what can React do for us that we can't already do now? Okay, like, how does React kind of make our life in terms of building an interface better? Okay, and that's what you need to keep asking yourself is how does React help with that? All right, let's get into the Master Professor pin, and there are 3 links inside of there, like so. Okay, check it. Got it all? Good. All right, these are all links to sounds. If you actually paste this inside of your browser, it's going to attempt to actually download the sound, okay? And that's not what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to play these sounds, right, from the application here. So if you go to CodePen, right, I have to double check that you can hear sounds here. And we search for drum kit, you're going to get a plethora of people who have made this. Like, so many people have remade his drum kit, right? Like this right here. Okay. All right. If I hit a key, can you hear the sound?
No.
No? All right. Let's see. All right. Here's another version of it. Can you hear that? Is that still a no?
I think I heard a little bit of it, but not really.
Did you hear that?
No.
All right. So let's see here. How do we fix this? Dear Zoom, it would be nice if you didn't reset my settings every single time. Well, we're just gonna run with it. Okay. So I'm gonna paste this link right into the chat here. Go ahead and go to this pen right there. You can go ahead and hit these keys, right? And all this person did was they took Wes Boss's drum kit, right? His solution, his code, and they basically turned it into the drum kit with their own sounds. And it's kind of fun. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make a soundboard. Okay, you're gonna be able to record your own sounds and add your soundboard to this. Jana, if you're in the chat, this is what we promised you in professional practice. She wanted to have a soundboard that she played during my class. Right? She here today? Jana, you here? No, she's not. Oh, this is her project. She's not here today. All right. All right, good here. Yeah, everybody get an example of what we're gonna make here. Okay, so what we want to do is right. Thanks, Mariah. What we want to do is break this whole thing down, right? Like, how does this work? Because we can just simply hit fork and add in our own sounds and be done with this. So the bigger question is, how does this all work? Okay, so I'm back into here. Let's go ahead and begin to deconstruct this. Okay. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna have to minimize y'all. All right, so the first thing we're gonna need to do is go ahead and make a holder for all this. All right, so again, I'm on one side of your screen, you're on the other. All right, we're gonna make a parent container called .keys. Okay, inside each of our keys are gonna be each individual key, and for now, these are just divs. Let's go ahead and break this thing down. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and use the letter A because it's easiest to type and it's the first one. Okay. And the first thing you should notice here is it's actually using this element called KBD. Okay. And what this is allowing us to do is actually make up these elements, right? Make up these elements that like we talked about, right? Remember all the way back to Web 1, like, yeah, I want that element, right? And we're having a way to make that now. So that's our parent container, okay? All right, so we have these keys. I mean, this one, we're just gonna have one. So anytime we press on the letter A, it should play this sound. And all we're doing is we're gonna have this class of sound, right? And then whatever the sound should be, okay? And it's that sound right there. That's gonna be our first sound, okay? And so what we wanna do now is go ahead and wrap this, okay, inside of this data key attribute. And we've used these in Web 2, right? In Web 2, this is how we did our, well, this hooked into the movie trailer, this hooked into our SVGs, right? Basically, this is our own custom elements, right? Our attributes, excuse me. And so this could be data-key.colon, this data key called my custom stuff, right? All right, so those are the data attributes that we're already familiar with. And so what we want to do now, right, is just be able to understand how this works. So we have our parent container right here. This is going to be our parent, okay? This is going to be all of the children elements, right? Basically all the keys, okay? And this is going to be our children, and this is the children. This is essentially, this is our soundboard, right? So all I want to start with is one single key right now. Okay, we'll put in the other key later on, right? Just one key right now. Okay. All right, so before we move on to this, let's see here. Any questions so far? You know, one of your classmates asked, like, how are we gonna be able to do a class as complicated as this online? I'm not sure yet. We're figuring this out as I say that as we record, okay? If this isn't working, we got to have a discussion because there's other options, okay? But right now we're hoping that the master professor pane can solve some of this. All right, so we have our singular key right there, okay? And then we can go in and we can hook into it as we normally would, right? And style this thing. So dot keys is the parent, and we're gonna hook into a single dot key, okay? So we have a class of dot key. So keys parent and that key, just go ahead and give this thing a background. Okay? Give background any color you like. All right, good there? So nothing new there, right? All basic stuff. Oh, I got ahead of myself. What we need to do now is go into here, right? And have the actual sounds. So from our movie trailer project, right, we learned about the video element. We briefly looked at the audio element, right? And it's this idea of you shouldn't have to do a full-on YouTube embed, right? Like I said, this element is still, we've had video for decades, right? Remember this Web2 lecture, video for decades, and now we just recently started using the video element and the audio element, right? Things that we've had sound on the internet, right? So now that we have these elements, what we want to be able to do is reference these two things. So I'm going to come into here, okay? And we have a data key here of 65 and this data key here of 65. And we'll get into what those are in just a second. So now what we want to do here is when we click on the A key up here, we want to play the audio key, the data key down here. We want this thing to play. Okay. So to do that, this is the source, right? This is the source of our audio right there. So that's what we're going to put in. That's the long form source. All right. Good there. So here is our interface, right? This is essentially right here. That's our interface into the sounds, right? The users are never going to actually see the sounds. Okay. This is our UI. This is the content of our UI. Okay. This is the styling for our UI, right? And then JavaScript's going to handle all of the interactions for that. All right. Good so far. Okay. Basic stuff. Okay. All right. Now what we want to do is begin to actually build this thing out. Sorry, I have something stuck in my teeth. Was that just recorded for posterity? Oh, great. That's on the internet for forever now. Okay, so first off, we have the solution, okay? Gonna drop in the entire solution before we break it down. Okay. Hit save, okay? Go ahead and hit save on this thing. We just wanna make sure this thing is working, okay? All right, if you hit the A key, do you hear a clapping sound? Like a drum sound. Like a do do do.
I do.
Great. All right, Stephanie's good. Throw up a thingy or hand. I need a turn for this. What's that?
I see it also. I hear it.
Yay, all right. All right, so essentially that's it, right? Like all we're gonna do is what I need you to do is get past, okay, and get past this right here. All right, get past how it looks. What we want to do is figure out how this works. We can come back and focus on the visuals, but let's get this thing functional first. Okay. All right. So first thing we need to do is understand this idea of keys. Okay. So if we go to key code. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. Okay. Every single character, right? This is how we can get multiple multiple language keyboards, right? Is if I hit the S, the key associated with S is 63. Now, if I tap on the A key on this website right here, right? And there's a long list of this. What number do you think is going to show up looking at our HTML? Alex, you're highlighted, so I'm going to ask you.
65.
60, all right. That is correct, 65, right? And spacebar is 32, right? You're going to see that a lot in code. Your mouse click has, okay. And that's how you get all these crazy, the command key is 224. And so what this allows us to do is remap these keys. So we can change the letters and the characters on the actual keyboard, right? But they're binded, right? Using JavaScript terms, they're binded to this number of 224. Good there? All right, so there's your key info. All right, there's Wes Boss's course. All right, so let's go ahead and begin to break this down. Okay, so we got this thing working. Oh, let's add in a second sound while we're here. All right, to do that, we don't need to duplicate the parent. We can just duplicate these keys. Okay, and so we want the letter S, right? So if we're going to go back to keycode.info here. Okay, we want the letter S. So if I hit S, that's the key of 83. So we need to bind that. I hit the Alt key just now. Refresh this to S. Okay, S is 83, A is 65. Okay. All right, so we're going to duplicate this. So we're going to need to change this number to, I already forgot what number it was, 83. All right, and this is going to be the other sound here. And I believe it's a bass sound. Okay, and we're going to change this key, right, this KBD element to S, right? And I'm going to hit save on this, and we're going to intentionally mess this thing up. Hit S, hit A. How come S isn't making any sounds? What do we need to do? We see the S key.
You need to add audio for the S key.
Perfect, right? We need to tell it to play a sound, right? So we're going to reference this one, that this sound references this key that's being pressed. This sound is going to reference this key that's being pressed, 83, okay? And the path for that one is the second link right there. Paste that in. All right, let's go ahead. A, S, S, S. There is a small delay because it has to load it from this this website here, but you should hear that bass sound. Okay, and now you can do your own EDM. Is that right? EDM music. Dun, dun, dun. All right, I'm not going to get into that. All right, good. All right, and so if I asked you to add 20 sounds or 200 sounds, this is how you would do it. And you were like, well, we can do it, but it'd be a lot of work to map this out. Real fast inside of the CSS, let's go ahead and start making that soundboard. We can come in here and go display flex on this thing. Let's see here, display, no, okay, display flex on the parent column, dot keys. Let's see here. I haven't made anything flexbox in a long time. Let's see, display flex on the actual individual key. Let's give this thing a width of, no, not display flex box, this display flex. Let's give it a width of 100 pixels and, right. And yeah, each individual key, we can give it a margin of 10 pixels. Good. And a height. Okay. Now, why I'm doing this is eventually we're going to be able to turn this into an app that we can install on a mobile device, and we're just going to have that tap, tap, tap. Or right. Good. Oh shoot! Anybody remember how to get the text to be centered vertically and horizontally? Is it justify content or line items? Is it both? It's on the parent. I always forget. No, that's not the actual content inside. No, I forgot the keys. I don't want to look them up right now, but all right, we're good for right now. Right, so imagine that you're, you can't see it, but my finger is tapping the screen. So imagine that you're tapping on the screen, right, for right now. Right, now what happens if you click on it? Click on the S, click on the A. Nothing, it's just working on the key code. Okay, so that's the other event that we need to get ready for eventually, right? Eventually, we're gonna have to deal with all the other interactions, right? Of tapping, of clicking. How come they're not playing? Okay, so this is how we're going to take the solution and add to it, right? So AA, I'm hitting A now, I'm hitting S now, and so the key commands work. Okay, but then how do we turn this into a soundboard that we can tap and click on? All right, so we've got some initial styling, right? We have our initial content, right? And always work with two or more pieces of content. If you can get 2 or more pieces of content, you can get it working. All right, so let's go and get into the nitty gritty and begin to break this down. We went a little long last time, and I don't plan to keep us over time again. Okay. So let's go ahead and first let's get rid of all that. All right, good. Let's save on that. All right. So a good place to stop is, can we just simply make the sounds play, right? So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and make sure that we're getting into set some variables here. Okay, so these are basically our keys. So let's go ahead and get into this. We're gonna have a const audio, right, and a const keys. Okay, and again, they're const because they're probably not going to change. Okay, again, the good rule of thumb is just continue to use const until you're going to have some mutable data that actually needs to change. Okay, and then just like in last class, right, we're going to use a document query selector. So get inside of my document, there is something that I want to grab, right, and all of our audio is inside of this audio element. Now, if we do this right here, okay, and we console.log, so let's go ahead and save this and let's open this thing up in debug mode and start using our REPL or our command line. This is something I am a little bit disappointed with, is we don't get to learn the command line because we're not in lab together. Right, so we can simply come in here and always do console.log on our audio element, okay, or audio variable, right, and hit refresh. Save. But notice we're not getting anything, right? Missing in constant. What am I? Where is my error here? Oh, I'm gonna comment that line out. There it is. Yeah. All right, so there is the audio element, but we want a specific one. Well, we have a way to uniquely identify this. And so what we don't want to do is come into our HTML and attach an ID of 65 to each one of these, because that's not really semantic. As you learn Web 1, right, you want stuff to be a semantic. So this is where our data attributes are a lot more flexible and a lot more semantic and just easier to use. The other way to do this is we continue to keep to console.log out everything, and every single class you take with me, there's a little bit more and a little bit more in terms of our tools and tips and tricks. And here's one. Go ahead and refresh your console there. All right. And we have an element that we, a variable that we called audio. If we come in here and we actually play, just go ahead and type audio. Okay. Look what happens here. So the capital A stuff is all the stuff that's a part of the API, a part of the browser, right? But right there, look what just happened there, right? I removed the console.log message, right there, right? It's commented out, but we're still seeing this variable here. And now we can actually just use this command line, okay? Right? And we can see the results of that. And then hit up on your keyboard and hit down. And you're going to be able to go back. So I can go back as way back in time and see everything that I've typed in this line. And what this allows you to do is quickly debug and understand all the elements that are inside of your document, right? So we're going to be console.logging still, but not as much as we used to do, because we have tools like this to, right? So watch what happens now if we actually comment out, and this is why modern browsers are so nice. In 2020, this is so nice. If I type in audio again, right, notice it doesn't show up. Lowercase a audio, that variable created doesn't show up, right? What you can't see me right now is doing this slow clap, right? Like the browser can better understand what you're doing. And this is a massive time saver. And on this small example, it might be hard to see, but otherwise we're going to be console.logging everything, right? We want to be able to have a quicker way to do that. All right, so there's our keys, okay? And we don't want all of the audio elements, we want a specific one, okay? And so inside of that, we want the data key, whoops. And we want a specific data key. Data /key, okay. Now, what we don't want to have to do is type in the 65 inside of here, okay? This right here is our template. Okay. We want this to be programmatic. We want this to be dynamic because we have more than one key, right? There's more than one key inside of there, right? So let that sink in. We have more than one key. So this thing, right, all the way back to Web 2 now, this is where template literals, right, were our first introduction into, right, this idea of templating. Okay. So if we take a look at this, right, look at this piece of code, what needs to change? What is dynamic? What is programmatic, right? It's everything inside of here, correct? And as we know from Web 2, our template literals are $, right, left curly, right curly. Okay, you're good there? With me? Okay. And inside of that, we're going to get in the event key, which is E, which I'll get into. Hold on, rearranging my screen here. All right, and this is going to be E dot, and then this is our key code. Good. With me so far? All right, does everybody see how this is a template? Right, I see the error in my code, it's fine, right? I want us to understand this part right here. This is the part that needs to be dynamic. This is the part that needs to change depending upon the code that is actually being pressed. Good, good? All right, so there's the data, right? There's the actual data part, okay? So now the part we need to look at next, and then I'll let you go here because we're gonna run long here, is this idea of the interactions, okay? But notice also inside of that data, and these lines can't be split easily, is also the templates, okay? All the stuff that we don't want to make over and over again, okay? Which would be here, yeah. Good, good? All right. All right, so let's focus now on the actual interaction, right? How do we actually get this interaction? Okay, so, and our interaction right now, the only one that we're binding an event to is the key press, okay? All right, so we have our parent here, okay, of keys, okay? And what we want to be able to do is go through each key, right? We're going to use JavaScripts for each, okay? Did I set my keys? Okay. Oh, so blah, we got to get the keys first. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the keys. Okay, we know how to get the keys. Set a variable called const, call it keys. Okay. And what we're going to do here is use this array from method. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do this, right? So again, inside of our document, grab all the keys. Check. All right, then we're going to go keys dot for each. Okay. So we have more than one key, and for each allows us to loop through every single one, right? So we got this method here called for each. All right. All right. With me? All right. So inside of that, we got a key, right? We are running long here. Okay. Inside of that is going to be our function. Okay. Function that's going to be running, right? And this is basically all the good stuff that needs to happen, right? Sorry, I'm distracted by. Can you hear my daughter in the background? No? All right. Okay. So every time we're gonna loop through each key, right, and do some stuff. But before we can do that stuff, right, we got to actually get the event listener. So loop through stuff. Sorry, this is my dyslexia. I'm going backwards here. And to do that, we got the window object here. So let me comment that out for a second. So you can act on the document, you can act on the window, but basically we want to act on the application itself. And window allows us to easily do that. And from Learn JavaScript Online, we got introduced to add event listener. Okay, so by default, an application, the events aren't binded to any keys, right? And what we can do is we have this massive JavaScript method called add event listener, and it can do a whole lot of stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at it real fast. Same rules apply, right? I don't recognize their existence even in Web3. So, all right, so we take a look at add event listener. Okay, there are a lot of different listeners that we could do. Okay, all the different listeners are all the events that get added, right? And eventually, swipe was added, and double clicks and single clicks. Things are removed. Show of hands if you've actually ever triple clicked something intentionally, like you triple clicked it to have it actually do something. Yeah, very few of you. Okay, so triple click is just one of those events that is like, no, users really don't like the triple click, but it's there, right? It's an option. Okay, and you can see all the different events there. All right, so we got this thing that's a part of JavaScript API because we don't want to have to write an event listener. Okay. All right, so coming here, we're going to go ahead and click on add event listener window to add event listener. Okay. We're going to make this thing very simple and then get out of here. All right, and one of the things to listen for is key down, right? And this could be click, right? This could be swipe, right? This could be any of the other things inside of the API, right? And then key down, and then here is the function, right? That's actually going to run. Okay. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and make a function. And function left paren, right paren, semicolon, do. Okay. Okay. And then right here, we're just going to make a simple console.log. Okay. Right. Right. Press is detected, or key press detected. And this is where we're going to stop. Okay. Just by just understanding these three parts, right, of the data, the interactions, okay, the key press that we're going to do here in just a second, right, and how we need to template all of this. And I want to make sure that we get this, so we go ahead and refresh this. Oh, odd is not defined. Where's my error, y'all? Reference odd is not defined.
It just commented out up top.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I was just asking if it was commented when it says the constant audio, or if that was not for something else.
Code. I'm not sure, but oh, duh. Gotta refresh my console here. There you go. All right, go ahead and press the key. All right. So if we come into here, right, in A, see how it's key press detected now? Right. Sure, thank you. Right, we can actually see that now. So I'm going to go back into my application here and hit S, okay, and hit A, okay, and key press is detected on each. And that's what we want. That's what we want to be able to do. And we can break down these two. So now that we have the events, the templates, and the key press, okay, we should be able to pick apart. Okay. And then in the next class, we're going to see how we can add to all of this. And so let me go ahead and stop the recording. And actually, I can show you this. All right. All right. So while I get this up, any questions so far? That's always a good sign, y'all. All right. Well, let's see here. Go ahead and fork this pen. Okay. What we're going to do in the next class is this right here. So you can see this, and I wanted to get us ready for this. All right, so you've gone ahead and forked this pen, and I'm going to paste it right into there. Okay. Take a look at what is inside of. Take a look at what's inside of the HTML. What does it say there? Please enable JavaScript for your app. Right? It's like, well, where did the content go? Where did the content go? I'm gonna go ahead and paste in some of the CSS, right? And we got this drum pad, okay? And again, we don't see anything. It says, please enable JavaScript to see this app. You can see, please enable JavaScript to see this app. What we're gonna take a look at right now is I'm going to add in two pieces, right? I'm going to add in the React.js library. Okay, so we need React, and then we need another dependency called React DOM. Okay. So we're going to add in these two libraries. And if you're getting confused right now, don't worry about it. Okay. What I'm trying to show you here is right now we're looking at all these different places, right? What we're going to be able to do is watch what happens when I paste in this code here. Run it now. What we've done here is taken all of our data, right? And look what we've done here. We have an array now of data, right? And inside of each array is some information, and one of them is the source to the sounds. So our app is now built, right? You're going to take all this, and eventually we're going to process all of this out. And imagine if this data that I have highlighted came from a different source, and that's the value of this. The value of this is, imagine if this all came from a different source. Like you could say, hey, you know, grandma, go set up your, record a sound and upload it to me. And then it automatically gets added, programmatically gets added to the application. Also down here, right, here is all of our templates. Okay, and in our CSS, all we have to care about is how it looks, right? And so this is the part. How many times are we going to make the audio element? Just once. How many times it's going to appear on the screen? As many times as necessary, right? It's going to programmatically output that data. I was really looking forward to today's lecture. I feel like I've confused you more.